Okay, so we are live, and darn it, if I didn't forget to take a picture of the box. So I'm gonna we're gonna hold this for a second, and hopefully I can get that to use as a thumbnail. Because I forgot to take a thumbnail before I started the video. So I got the for you today the Blue Beetle movie 12-inch figure from Spin Master, and they've changed up the packaging because I guess they decided to go the Hasbro route and have uh, plastic-free packaging, except for, of course, the infamous rubber tabs. So here's what an older Spin Master figure looks like. I happened to pick up Mr. Freeze at Ollie's today for $4.99, so we're going to do a video on that sometime within the upcoming week. But you can see the difference where it's like, the old Spin Master packages were pretty much all plastic, just a little cardboard backing. And now this one's all cardboard. So I do think that they made a lot of strange decisions with this packaging. Like, there's a lot of negative space down here, and technically, like, there's some like blueprints, what looks like blueprints for the scarab and everything like that. But it's not very well seen, and it just kind of looks like kind of a background pattern. And you would think they could have made the logo bigger, or put some artwork of the character on there or something. I'm gonna try to move over here, and hopefully the light will be better since I don't have the lamp plugged in right now. So anyway, do have some artwork on the side and on the back. And to me, this looks more like the comic book version of the character because you can see the figure has this kind of texture to him that looks almost like an insect's exoskeleton, but that's not really visible on the artwork of the character on the side. And man, if that's not like a 1980s looking logo, I don't know what is. That logo looks more 80s than the actual Blue Beetle logo that was on the comic book that I actually read in the 80s. So that's pretty crazy. So, and of course, this is like the newer version of the character. I say newer, but he's been around for almost 20 years now. Uh, but yeah, this is Jaime Reyes, and he's the one that the movie is based on. The Blue Beetle I grew up with was Ted Cord, and that one was created by Steve Ditko in the 1960s. And I read the DC series that they did in the 1980s, and of course they also brought in the Dan Garrett version from the 1960s, not to be confused with the Golden Age Dan Garrett version, which technically is public domain, that version of the character, but the name Blue Beetle is trademarked. So there's probably a TM next to him in the package. It's just really small, but yeah, it's right about there, I think. But it's small enough I can't read it. So, and a little teeny tiny DC logo on there. Like, really, they should have made this whole logo bigger. I almost feel like that was an accident or something. Like they just used the one from the side of the package, and that they'd intended for that to be a lot bigger. But yeah, the official name for this, and this does have TM next to it there. The official name for this figure is Hero Mode Blue Beetle. So it is kind of a sharp looking package, and I do like the colors of it. Let's go ahead and open it up. So there's a piece of tape here, and the flap opens like that. And there we go, and we can pull them out. And the background of the package is all blue. I guess it makes sense when you have a character who's got blue in the name that, you want to have a blue background package. But I probably would have had the lighter blue up near where his head was so it would stand out a little bit more. That's just me. So go ahead and cut through the rubber bands and the rubber tabs and get Jaime, not Jamie, out of his package. So there we go. I haven't had a chance to see the movie yet. Hopefully it's good. I heard from some people who'd watched it and enjoyed it. So hopefully it'll be worth checking out if I get a chance to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go see it at the theater, but I will definitely watch it once it hits HBO Max, which it certainly will. It was originally supposed to be an HBO Max movie, and they decided to bump it up to a theatrical release. So I want to check his elbows first of all, since those awful Robert Pattinson figures didn't have good elbow articulation, and he does indeed have elbow articulation that's up to Spin Master's usual standards, not of those embarrassing Robert Pattinson figures. As if there'd be another way to make a Robert Pattinson figure. Of course, it's going to be embarrassing. Now, unfortunately, just because of the way his costume is designed, even though this is, the kind of standard joints of the elbows, the shoulder pieces are so big, that's about as far up as you can lift his arms. So, usually with these figures, and I don't have a Spin Master one. What? So I have Batman over here somewhere, don't I? Like the Keaton Batman. I could have sworn I had him around here somewhere. But Mattel works just as well for this instance. Usually these figures in general, their arms will go up about at least that far. Oh, there's Keaton. I accidentally put him underneath the Blue Beetle packaging. So yeah, his arms go all the way up like that. But of course, Batman's armor is much more sleek. This version of Batman, his armor is much more sleek. Whereas Blue Beetle has like these huge shoulder pads, and those kind of get in the way of his articulation. So that's unfortunate. But the arms do rotate all the way around. The elbows bend up about that far. That's some pretty good range of motion on the elbows there, as far as like how they bend up, and then they rotate all the way around this way. I would say this is probably the best elbow articulation I've seen on a Spin Master figure, at least here recently. Certainly better than the elbow articulation on those Robert Pattinson figures, and better than the Batman, the real Batman, the Keaton Batman. He's got better elbow articulation than Pattinson, but not quite as good as what Blue Beetle has. So legs go up about that far, so they don't actually go up that far. But if you look at the way that his hips are articulated and the space that's left there for the hips to move versus how they did it with Batman, and I'm really wishing both these figures weren't solid black. Like Batman's got a lot more room to move his legs all the way up, whereas Jaime they just did not give him that much room. And I'm guessing they're trying to show off the details of the suit, but I think I would have rather had his legs be able to move all the way. It is a very cool, detailed suit. Like I said, the texture on the black portions of it looks almost like an insect's exoskeleton, and that's really cool. The blue parts look a little more sort of tech-like, and mostly he's black and blue, which I feel like this blue should be a bit shinier and more metallic than what it is. But there are he's got some light blue piping there, which in the movie that's actually lit up. And there's also some areas like here on his hips and at his elbows, and looks like at the back of his knees. It's kind of hard to tell in this light, but it's more of a dark indigo kind of color. You can kind of see it a little bit there. So yeah, so that gives it a little bit more texture, and I think that's pretty cool. And he does come with one accessory, which is the actual scarab. So why don't we go ahead and get that off, and that'll plug into his back. So unfortunately, no other accessories. Like typically in the comics and in the animated versions, and in this movie as well, Jaime's suit, which springs out of the scarab, which is stuck to his back. There we go. Now he's got his scarab. I'm guessing they made it like a separate piece just so it would fit in the packaging better. But it just plugs in like that, and it seems to stay in pretty snugly. But it also comes out fairly easily. At least it did originally. I think I pressed it in all the way now. Maybe I didn't have it all the way last time. But yeah, it's a good shade of blue. But in the movie, to me, it looks like it's a much more metallic, shinier shade of blue than what they have here. But unfortunately, like I said, he doesn't come with any other accessories like swords or wings to stick out of his back, or blaster cannons or anything like that. So maybe I'll be able to find something to print out for him on Cults 3D or Thingiverse. Maybe somebody will actually make some. So I really wanted the figure that they made of Blue Beetle for the Justice League Action line. They did a 12-inch Blue Beetle for that, but I was never able to find them. So I kind of figured I wouldn't be able to get Blue Beetle in this scale. But thankfully, they made this movie and decided to make a figure of it. So, like I said, this was originally going to be an HBO Max uh, movie, and they decided to release it theatrically. So I don't know if we would have actually gotten toys of it if it had have remained an HBO Max movie. So it's probably a good thing that, at least for me as a toy collector, that it got released. Yeah, he got about 90 degrees of motion at his knee. So the articulation on this is not quite as good, again, as a typical Spin Master, although it's better in some ways. But on average, I think they probably could have done a better job with this. I think what I would have done is probably have made these the shoulder armor like a separate piece, and made it out of like a softer rubber. Like they already have some pieces on here that are softer rubber, like these insect legs. They're glued straight onto the body, so they don't really need to be flexible. Except for, I guess, that was how they were able to get them onto the figure in the first place. And the scarab itself is made out of a softer, more rubbery plastic. So maybe while they were at it, they could have made these shoulder pieces out of the softer, more rubbery plastic, and then that way they could have maybe the arms could have been able to move a little bit better. But for what it is, it's a pretty nice figure, and I'm pretty happy with it. Like I say, these 12-inch figures usually they're only like $10 or so. So I got this one on Amazon. I actually ordered it on Amazon yesterday, and they got it shipped out to me almost immediately. Like less than I think it was less than 24 hours after I ordered it. That was fast. I was shocked. So yeah, supposedly the rumor that I heard was that originally Ben Affleck had a voice cameo where he was talking on the phone to the George Lopez character. So they would have existed in the same continuity, wouldn't they have? That would have been nice. So almost like the Brave and the Bold cartoon show where they teamed up a lot with Batman and Blue Beetle. That's where I got to really like this character because I've read some of the comics and they were fine, but I really liked how they did them on that Brave and the Bold cartoon show that had a lot of charm to it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Let me know what you think about this figure and the Blue Beetle in general. Who's your favorite character to bear the name of the Blue Beetle? In my case, it would be Ted Kord. That was the one that I remember from the comics. Maybe for you, it was Dan Garrett. Maybe for you, it's Jaime Reyes. Maybe for you, it's the guy who was called the Blue Beetle on the Electric Company TV show that otherwise was unrelated to this Blue Beetle, or the Dan Garrett one, or the Ted Kord one. But he did get to meet Spider-Man. So I guess he had that going for him. Anyway, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.